If you're watching this video, you've likely experienced infant loss or infertility. Maybe you've chosen to abort your baby in the past. Whatever the case is, I want to wish you a happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to you for all of the children that you have here on earth and the ones in heaven. In this video, I'm going to share a little bit about my own pregnancy journey with you and also encourage you about the image that I have of our children playing in heaven. It's something that I want you to be able to take away with and treasure because it is a beautiful, beautiful picture of what is happening. My name is Sam Evan Tschritter, and I am the grief advocate unedited. I am able to say things that people are afraid to say or articulate things that people aren't sure how to say. I got pregnant for the first time in 2009, and no one told my husband or I that pregnancies ended in miscarriage. In my mind, I was going to be pregnant and then I was going to have a baby 9 months later. There was no other conclusion to that story until there was. And after I miscarried, I looked online for books about miscarriage, and I read the back cover copy, and I read 10 years ago I had a miscarriage, 15 years ago I had a miscarriage. And for me personally, I felt like I wanted those feelings and those memories to be fresh for the person I was learning from. Because 10 years later, 15 years later, you're gonna know how your story ends. You're gonna know whether or not you had kids. You'll have healed a lot. The memories will have grayed around the edges. So I felt like those books were just missing something. I started journaling like the night I miscarried. And 3 weeks into my journaling, I wrote the words, "You see," as if I were talking to someone else. God laid the phrase "love letters to miscarriage moms" on my heart. So I was like, I guess I'm writing a book about miscarriage. So 3 weeks after I miscarried my first child, I started writing a book about miscarriage, written in the midst of my grief so that readers would not be alone in theirs. As I was writing, I got pregnant again. I miscarried again. It was picked up by a publisher in 2022. So this book has the benefit of a better writing craft, but also I was able to keep the memories and the feelings and the thoughts and the emotions. I was able to keep all those details. And so it's kind of the best of both worlds. And I can tell you a little bit more about Love Letters to Miscarriage Moms at the end if you're interested. But that's only part of my story. Part of my story is that I was writing this book about miscarriage and that I published this book about miscarriage. After those 2 miscarriages, I finished writing the book and had 2 more daughters. My middle daughter was 1 year old. I'd written the book, I'd spoken about the book, I'd ministered to women who'd experienced miscarriage. We were in church as the service was ending, and I was pregnant. And we hadn't told many people. We learned our lesson not to share about pregnancy too soon, which I don't think that's the right lesson to learn, because if people rejoice with you in your pregnancy, they can also mourn with you in your loss. That's another video for another time. Anyway, we decided not to tell people about that pregnancy. The service was coming to an end. I was holding my middle daughter close to my chest, balancing her a little bit on my belly, and I felt cramping. I felt cramping, and I knew what that meant because I'd experienced it twice before. I passed my daughter off to my friend Christine. I don't even know where my husband was at that point, but he wasn't there. And so I handed my daughter off, and I ran to the bathroom, and I ran into a stall and pulled on my underwear, and there's blood. There's blood in my underwear. I was like, no. I remember there was someone in the stall next to me, and so I was grieving, but also trying not to full out panic. And I knew I had enough strength to go find my husband. I knew at that point he would be getting our daughter out of the nursery. And so I had enough strength, enough stamina, I guess, to go down the Sunday school hallway, find him near the nursery, and say, "I lost the baby." At that point, I imagined us running out the door together and getting in the car and driving away before anyone could see me cry. We also had a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old. So just running out the door was not in the cards for us. I found my husband, and I leaned in and I said, "I lost the baby." And he didn't hear me. No, I didn't have enough strength to say it twice. But I had to. I lost the baby. I fell apart. I just started weeping. And I leaned against the wall of the hallway and I slid down the wall and just landed. And I remember seeing people from like the knees down. I remember men's black leather shoes and women's pumps, and because that's all I could see was like shoes hurrying by trying to give me space, and I was sobbing. And just I had a friend sit next to me and she put her arm around me and she said, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." And she didn't hear me. She hadn't heard what I said to my husband. She didn't know I was pregnant, but she knew I miscarried, which is the sign of another miscarriage mom. And I just sat in the hallway and I cried, and the pastor came and she laid her hand on my knee and she was going to pray for me, and I shoved her hand away. Like, I don't want anything to do with him right now. I was so mad at God. I was more mad at God for the third miscarriage than I was for the first two. Like, God, I already did this. I already learned this lesson. I already learned how to put you first. I wrote a book. I wrote a book for you, God. Why are we here again? Why is this happening? And I refuse to worship God, and I refuse to pray. My husband got the car. He brought me home, and I fell asleep right away. If you've experienced infant loss, you know how exhausting it is, mentally, emotionally, physically. I dreamed of this white celestial space, like clouds and mist and white. There were 3 men, and they were singing in perfect harmony. And I knew immediately in my dream that it was the Trinity, and I was still mad. I was still mad at God. And I wanted nothing to do with him, and I didn't want to sing with him. I didn't want to worship, except the sound, the beautiful harmony was so compelling that I couldn't help myself but sing with these men. And so they kind of encircled me. We created a circle together, and they folded me in, and we started harmonizing together, and it was beautiful and wonderful, and I felt so much joy and peace. It was amazing. And then the perspective switched, and suddenly they were standing further back, and they were singing in Spanish, and I don't know why. I don't know my Spanish, but they were singing Feliz Cumpleaños, which is happy birthday. And the middle man of the 3 was holding a newborn baby. The middle man of the 3 was holding my newborn child. And the 3 men were singing happy birthday to my baby. And that's what I want to share with you. Death stole our children from us, but God demanded and received our children on the other side. And every time one of our children passes away, he welcomes them home, and he sings happy birthday. And he cradles our babies until the moment that we get to be there with them. You are a mom because you have children, whether they're heaven-born or earth-born. There are babies who call you mom. You are a mom because there are children in heaven who know your name is mom. And I want to wish you the happiest Mother's Day possible. You deserve it, Mama. You deserve to count all of your children. You deserve to count them. I have 6 babies, 3 in heaven and 3 on earth. What's your number? How many do you have? Count all of them. Jay Negabaran is an author who had this amazing quote. You might have heard it before. He says, a wife who loses her husband is a widow, and a man who loses his wife is a widower. Children without parents are orphans, but there is no name for parents who lose their children. What if we coined a phrase together? What if you and I coined a phrase together? People here on earth see my 3 children. People ask me how many kids I have, and I say I have 3. But that's not true. It's not accurate. I have 6. I'm a mother of more. You are a mother of more. Our partners are fathers of more. Mothers of more. Fathers of more. What if we called ourselves mores? I am a more. You are a more. Just like love as well, but you are a mother of more. You have more children than people can see. You have children missing from your family photo. You are a mother of more. I want to wish you the happiest Mother's Day, my dear mother of more. Blessings. P.S. Love letters to miscarriage moms if you want to hear more about that book. I love it. It's gorgeous. The interior is gorgeous. There's journal space. There are reflection questions. There is input in the book from over 40 moms and dads who talk about their experiences with infant loss, not just miscarriage, but adoption and infertility and stillbirth and early infant loss. There are letters from parents of loss to parents of loss. I'm so happy with how that book turned out. And like I said, it still shows the graphic of like what my miscarriage looked like, what it felt like, the negative feelings that I had, the struggles, the emotional battles. All of those struggles are recorded in real time. If you are looking for a resource and you would like a friend to walk along the journey with you, I recommend Love Letters to Miscarriage Moms. You won't be disappointed.